So a couple years ago, they stopped allowing in softball recruits to commit. What was it, sophomore year? Because softball was way earlier than baseball, right?
There was 13-year-olds committing,
which is crazy. Yeah. So, like, I assume that's changed things for the better in fast pitch. But like, what have you seen on the recruiting front? Like, how's that changed everything?
Well, I think you don't have these big decisions happening at the wrong time. Like, even if a 13-year-old is showing that she could be a phenom, she still has a 13-year-old brain. And so the fact that, like,
like ponies and like making shrinky, do people do shrinky dink still?
Right, what a 13-year-old
is it Labubus now or something? Or the thing, those little creepy dolls? Anyway, I digress.
But like, you know, a 16-year-old brain is very different than a 13-year-old brain. And so like, even that alone was like a huge relief. And I think parents thought, oh, it was so cool. And again, we're talking about like the 1% of the 1%. Actually, the head coach at Duke, her daughter committed to Florida when she was 13 years old. And I honestly, I don't even know if that was, you know, a while ago. I don't even think she's playing there. But by changing that rule now, we allow kids to develop and figure out what they want, as in, you know, do I want to be close to home? Do I want to have a totally new experience? How much coaches move around now? Like, you're committing 5 years before you're there.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah. Like half of the staffs aren't even there anymore.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
So that was a huge change. We needed that change. It was important. Don't get me wrong, with like the 1% of the 1%, these elite athletes that are, you know, honestly, Dan, for a while, I couldn't understand it. I was like, how do you know a kid's going to be? And then I saw my first 14-year-old kid that I was like, that one looks different. And fast forward, like, she actually just finished her freshman year at Stanford, but she looked different at 14.
Yeah.
But she was still a 14-year-old. So I'm glad she didn't have to make that decision when she was young. But yeah, letting them grow up a little bit and figure out where they want to be and what they want to be, I think, is huge. So I'm glad that's shifted. So the rules are a little different depending on Division I and Division II. Your junior summer is really important, meaning you're going, you know, that summer, once that summer's over, you're going into your junior year in high school. September 1st is for Division I. And so that's always a kind of a crazy time for, again, your higher level athletes. But honestly, most people don't get calls on those dates.
Yeah.
And they still play in college. So that's like another huge myth, is that, oh, if I don't get a call on one of these dates, I'm not good enough. My favorite stat to share, because honestly, I've never met a 14-year-old that like goes, I really want to go to Concordia University, which is like an awesome D3 program in Texas.
Yeah.
Everybody's dreaming about Alabama and Oregon and Florida and Oklahoma when they're 14 and 15. The reality is most people aren't going to play at that level, but there's 1,600 programs in the country. That's a lot to sort through. And the reality is most kids aren't going to play Division I. In fact, 86% of kids who play college sports are not playing Division I. Most people that play in college aren't going to the top 10 programs in the country.
That's almost 8 out of 9 are not going D1.
Yep.
And not to mention, especially going back to the young commits, is like, what are you going to study? Like, what do you even like? We had a kid who committed when he was 15 or 16, and then their staff turned over his senior year. And then he got screwed because the new staff came in, they're like, yeah, we don't want you.
Yeah, they don't have
He's like, well, I could have like found other places to play in these last couple of years. And so you almost get hurt by committing early, not knowing what's going to come next. And then at the end, you're like, oh, well, now it's too late to go back in. All the money, scholarship money for my draft class is gone. And yeah, it just stinks. So.
Yeah, later is better. I mean, there's a lot of things that are answered by then. And so, again, there's ways around it. People, you know, again, higher level programs will let a 13 or 14-year-old know in some way, shape, or form that, like, hey, we like you. You're on our board already.
Right.
You know, whether it's through a club coach or a high school coach, whatever it is. But at the end of the day, I'm so glad that they're not having kids make this. I mean, what I tell high school kids, it's like, this is the biggest decision you've ever made in your life, which is like overwhelming, but it's true. Like, I mean, for me, like, where I went to played college shaped so much of not just my college experience, but like who I turned into as an adult, why I ended up still coaching.
Yeah, husking corn on a daily basis.
It was amazing.
Such strong hands.
We have one of the scariest mascots you'll ever see.
What is the Cornhuskers mascot?
It's a farmer. We're not scary. It's the friendliest cult you could ever be a part of.
That was the Retrievers, UMBC Retrievers. So
you could be
Golden Retrievers. Don't even want to.
You just want to.
They just want to. They just want to. Yeah, they just want to sit on your lap. So is there any advice then? Anything specific, or just like wait and see for parents?
There's a lot of layers to recruiting, and honestly, they should be there to help and support. But to me, like, the student athlete has to drive the ship. Like, what we're seeing now is like parents writing the emails and running the social media accounts. Like, we know the responsibility of a student athlete is so much. And so if you think like your athlete's like, oh, well, they'll do all that when they get there. Like, no, these are really good practice moments. If they really want to play in college, they need to be the ones jumping through the hoops to do it. Writing the emails,
Right.
Making the posts, responding, sending out video. Make sure they drive the bus. They got to drive that bus.